So when I was young, I was a good player, but I was ultimately held back by my lack of communication and being too quiet on the football pitch. Now looking back, I realized that there were probably a couple of reasons why I was too quiet on the football pitch. I think number one, I was nervous to receive the ball. I was nervous. I was too focused on, what about if I call the ball? What about if I shout for the ball? If I demand the ball and then I lose it? Like, I'm gonna end up, disappointing my teammates. I'm gonna end up disappointing my manager. I'm gonna look silly the way I was demanding for the ball. I was shouting. I was like, yes, 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 and then I end up losing it. I'm just gonna look silly. And then the second point for me was looking back was that 10-year-old me. I was scared of shouting for the ball because for some reason I was just embarrassed of my voice. I was like, because I'd hear other 10-year-olds shouting and their voices would be so squeaky and I'd be thinking, yo, like I don't want to be sounding squeaky on the football pitch. I don't want to be shouting for the ball, sounding like Mickey Mouse. But if it was me now talking to my younger self, I probably would have slapped him for having that fear. You know what I'm saying? Because I would have been like, yo, brother, you're 10 years old, bro. It's fine. Your voice is not gonna be deep. Like, allow it, bro. Just call for the ball, get the ball, and just play your game. Fuck what anyone else thinks. Just play your game and do what's best for you. Do what's gonna help you. Do whatever you need to do to help your team win the game. The thing was though is that I was still the best player on my team, so my coaches and my teammates just sort of accepted it for what it was. You know what I'm saying? They were just like, JT's quiet, it's fine. He still does the business. He still performs on the pitch. He's quiet, it's okay. Yeah, we would like him to talk more. Yeah, we would like that he gets involved with his teammates a lot more in training and in matches. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's fine. It's fine. He doesn't talk, but he still performs on the pitch. But now looking back, I wish I had a coach that challenged me. I wish I had a coach that would literally say to me, yo, JT, if you don't talk, if you don't start communicating, I'm putting you on the bench. Like, I wish I had a coach like that who was really strict on me, who whenever I was in a situation to receive the ball, for example, and I didn't call for it, I wish he would have been on the sideline shouting at me saying, JT, why are you not calling for the ball? Why the fuck are you not calling for the ball? Like, I wish I had that coach looking back now, because ultimately that would have made me a way better player. That would have made me realize the importance of talking, the importance of communication a lot earlier than I actually did. So today I'll be talking to all the quiet players on the football pitch, all the guys who are shy, all the guys that are nervous on the football pitch, all the guys who just don't talk, don't communicate, the guys who they'll get themselves in good positions, but because they don't communicate, because they don't shout at their teammates for the ball, they don't receive the ball, which ultimately leads to them having less of an impact on the game and looking like a worse player. So today I'll be talking to those players who are too quiet on the football pitch. So the first thing I would tell my younger self is literally, talking is a part of the game, you know what I'm saying? Nobody's gonna get onto you for, demanding the ball and shouting for the ball. Nobody's gonna get on your case for, criticizing your teammates, saying that they need to do things better. And I think a part of this was definitely down to the type of team that I was in when I grew up. Now, the type of team I was in is that if I saw people shouting at each other, the coach would always try, stop the shouting. He'd always try, what's the word I'm looking for? He'd always try to avoid people, arguing with each other. However, I wish I was playing for a coach who, would encourage the arguing, who would encourage it, because ultimately that's a part of the game. When you get older, when I got to 15, 16, I realized that, this is a part of the game. Like, teammates arguing is low-key a good thing because you're holding each other accountable, you're telling people what to improve on, and ultimately it's just going to help each person in the long run. Both people get to say what they need to say, and then it's done. We leave it there, and then we carry on with the game. You understand? But the culture I was in, especially as a young player, I'd see, let's say one player would criticize the other player, so they'd criticize them. This player would start, he'll start sulking, he'll start putting his head down, he'll start pulling a strop, and then ultimately he wouldn't work as hard, or he'd be costing us in the game, you know what I'm saying? And then obviously after the game, the coach would be like, the coach would say to this player, yo, what's wrong? Why are you not putting in effort? Then he would be like, he shouted at me, he did this, he did that, and then ultimately this player will end up getting told off for doing that, you know what I'm saying? Whereas if I had played for a coach who would encourage that sort of thing, and this player started sulking, and this player started, pulling a strop and started playing bad on purpose, and then he said to his coach, yo, this player is getting on to me. I wish I had a coach that would have been like, yo, it is what it is, it's part of the game. But because I grew up in a especially for my first team, I grew up in like a soft environment where, you know, it was all like, oh, don't shout at people, you know, encourage your teammates. Even though it was a case where it's like, there were certain situations where it was a case of like, yo, this guy is fucking up, this guy is moving shit, like, we need to tell him like, yo, do this, do that, start checking your shoulders, start being more aggressive into tackle, stop being so lazy, run back, you know what I'm saying? But as soon as you said that, on my first team, the coaches were all like, the coaches and the parents as well, because you need to realize when you're young, parents have a big influence as well. So the parents, obviously the parents will be like, oh no, don't shout at each other, you know, just keep encouraging each other. But yeah, so I feel like that's where the talking for me sort of came from, coming from that environment where it's like, I was afraid that if I shouted at my teammates, or if I did anything that, you know, my coach would put me on the bench, or my coach would tell me off. Whereas in reality, bro, once you get to a certain age, it's one of them ones where it's like, yo, it doesn't matter, you understand? It doesn't matter how you say it, as long as you're not mad disrespectful with it. You can even just say to a player, yo, you're being fucking shit, like, pattern up, fix your passing, fix your first touch, like, what the fuck's going on? You can say like, it's okay, bro. Like, if you're watching this and you're thinking, oh, I don't know if I can say that to my teammates. Trust me, if it's a good team that you're on, all the best teams that I've played on, bro, it's just the normal thing. It's just the normal thing. Guys criticize people every time. Once you get to the professional level, or once you get to a first team level, semi-professional, guys are criticizing people every single time. Guys are getting into arguments. It just is what it is. You get into an argument, you both say what you need to say, and then boom, and then it's resolved. You just go out onto the pitch, no hard feelings, with the knowledge that, yo, you're not doing it to, you know, hurt each other, to insult each other. You're just doing this for the benefit of the team. So if you ever like me and you have that feeling of, oh, I don't want to say anything, I don't want to say anything to this player because I'm scared of, you know, maybe my coach will get onto me, or maybe he'll get onto me, or maybe my teammates won't like me. It's just one of them things where it's like, yo, say what you need to say and just get out of the way. Say what you need to say and just make sure that the teammate you're criticizing, he knows that, yo, you're not saying it from a bad place. You're just saying it from a place of like, yo, we need to win the game. It's saying it from a place that you need to help your team win. One weakness that many footballers have is improving their weak foot. For some reason, a lot of players I've spoken to just can't seem to figure out how to improve their weak foot, whether they're right-footed or left-footed. But luckily for you, I've made a course on how to improve your weak foot. This course is currently in the works. In this course, I'm going to be showing you drills. I'm going to be teaching you how to get better at, you know, different aspects of the game in terms of your weak foot. So passing, your shooting, your dribbling, and I'll be teaching you stuff outside of the pitch that can actually help your weak foot as well, you know, things that no other football YouTuber is talking about. So if you're interested, if you want to improve your weak foot, click the first link in the description, get the course, and trust me, you won't regret. Your weak foot will 100% improve. Also, if you're a quiet player on the pitch, you need to realize that talking just makes everything so much easier. It's almost like you're doing a disservice to your teammates if you're not talking, because talking is a form of just helping them out. Because when I was young, I was thinking, oh, it doesn't really matter if I talk. I'm still helping my team out, but, you know, winning tackles, making passes, playing at my best. But you're still doing a sort of disservice to your teammates, because talking actually helps them a lot. Like, think about it. Think about it when your teammate has the ball and he's got a man on. If you don't shout man on, he's going to get tackled. Do you understand? I'm pretty sure we've all been in that situation where we've got the ball. Obviously, maybe in that situation, you need to be checking your shoulders. But let's say you forgot to check your shoulders just that one time. You get the ball and then you get tackled because a man was right up your back. You're going to be looking around at your teammates and be like, yo, where the fuck was the man on? You know what I'm saying? You're going to be like, yo, where was the man on? That's probably one of the most frustrating things as a player. And I've seen that happen so many times. It's happened to me and it's happened to some of my teammates where I thought, alright, cool. It was probably our fault that we needed to shout man on. You know what I'm saying? You know, things like man on, things like telling your teammates, alright, cool, you got time on the ball. Telling your teammates to turn. Say that they've got time and they can turn on it. So that instead of them thinking, oh, I've got a man on my back, let me just pass it back to the centre back. Yo, if your centre mid is receiving the ball, tell him to turn, tell him time so he can open up his body, take it on the back foot, and he can progress play. You understand? Like, literally just open your mouth will just help your teammates so much. Like I said before, you're almost doing a disservice. Let's say if it's your striker in the box. If a cross comes in and nobody's around your striker, tell your striker he's got time so he can take a touch and finish, instead of him, you know, trying to rush it, or instead of him, you know, trying to hit it on the volley. Like, literally little things like this. Like, I'm telling you, if you're a quiet player, you're doing such a disservice to your teammates. I know, and what's it called? Don't have that mentality of like, oh, there are other players on the pitch, you know what I'm saying? Other players on the pitch can do that for me, because that's what I used to think as well. But you need to think about it. Depending on what position you play, football is always played in combinations, you understand? The left back and the left winger, they need to have a good bond. They need to be communicating. The right back, the right winger, they need to be communicating. The number 10 and the striker, they need to be on the same wavelength. Two centre backs and goalkeeper, they need to be on the same wavelength. The two holding midfielders, let's say it's a 4-2-3-1, the two holding midfielders, they need to be on the same wavelength as well. So, like I said, even though there might be other people who are louder than you on the pitch, bro, you need to create chemistry with that person that's playing next to you, whether you're a fullback and winger. Like, let's say if you're the centre mid, if you're the two, let's say we're playing a 4-2-3-1, if you're the two holding midfielders, you can't be quiet. You need to be constantly communicating with him. You need to be saying, alright, cool, you go up, push forward, or I'll stay back, or yo, man on, you got time, turn on it, 1-2. You need to be saying these things. That's how you create the partnerships, you know what I'm saying? You can't be relying on your left winger to be giving your centre mid partner instructions, you know what I'm saying? Because the left winger, he's communicating with his left back, you understand? The right winger, the right winger and right back, they're communicating, you know what I'm saying? Football's always played in combination, so don't have that mentality, because I used to have it as well, where the coach will tell that guy to do it, or someone else can tell him to do it. It's like, nah. Football's played in combinations. If you're a two in midfield and you have your centre mid partner, it's a case of like, yo, you two need to be communicating with each other. You're the closest to each other. You need to be communicating to each other. You can't be if you're a centre back and you've got your centre back pairing, you can't be relying on your flipping number 10 to be giving instructions to you and your centre back. You know, you need to figure that out by yourself. You understand? So, literally, if you're a quiet player, trust me, just open your mouth, you know what I'm saying? There's nothing to be scared about. There's nothing to be shook about. No one's gonna tell you off for, you know, demanding the ball. No one's gonna tell you off for criticizing your teammates. Nobody's Nobody's gonna look down upon you for, you know, shouting on the pitch. If anything, people are gonna get angry at you. People are gonna get angry and frustrated at you for not opening your mouth. People are gonna get frustrated at you for not opening your mouth, for not calling for the ball. You understand? Imagine you're in space, but your teammate can't see you. But because you're not calling, they lose the ball and they get dispossessed. Whereas if you had just called for the ball, they would have picked their head up, they would have seen you, and they would have played the pass, you know what I'm saying? But if you don't do that, if you're not showing for it, people are going to get annoyed at you. Same as the man on example. If your centre mid partner gets the ball and you don't shout man on to him, like, what are you doing? And he loses the ball, he's going to be looking at you and he's going to be like, yo, bro, where was the man on call, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe it's the winger. Or maybe it's the striker, for example. Let's say you're a number 10 and your striker, you know, like I said, the ball comes into the box, your striker just hits it first time. Your striker hits it first time, and then when the ball goes wide of the goal, he's looking around and he's gonna be like, yo, why didn't anyone say that I had time? Why didn't anyone, you know, tell me to take a touch, bring it down, so I could easily just finish it into the bottom corner? You understand? So it's one of them things where communication is key. I know it sounds basic. It sounds, for a lot of people who have never struggled with this issue, it sounds so basic. You're probably just thinking, yo, this is just a part of the game. Like, it is what it is. But I know there's people out there, because I was like this when probably up until like 14 years old, where for some reason I just didn't communicate on the pitch for these reasons that I've said in this video. So if you're one of them quiet players, especially if you're a good player as well, that's the thing with me, is that I was seen as one of the best players on my team. And you're leaving so much potential on the table. I know that you're probably thinking, but I still do what I need to do on the pitch. Like, even though I don't talk, but trust me, you're leaving so much potential on the table. You know what I'm saying? Help your teammates out, communicate. When you communicate, like I said, you're gonna help your teammates out. You're gonna receive the ball a lot more, so you can show even more of what you can do. You know what I'm saying? You might be balling out, but if you call for the ball, if you want the ball in certain situations, you're gonna ball out even more. You're gonna show people even more of what you can do, you understand? So yeah, like I said, if you're not communicating on the pitch, you're definitely leaving a bunch of potential on the table. But that's all I got to say for this vid. I hope you enjoyed. I've been JT and I'm out.